know throughout this press conference, I'm going to reference my team and talk about our lack of toughness and our lack of execution and all the things that plagued us because it's my team. But I say all that, and I don't want it misconstrued throughout the entire press conference that I thought Josh's team, their guys were ready to play. I thought they were excited to play. I thought they took the fight to us. And I think sometimes coaches don't credit the other team, and they sit here and tell you guys how poorly their own team played. And so as the press conference goes on and I talk about how poorly we played, I would be remiss if I didn't say that I thought their game plan was excellent. They played us man-to-man the entire game, and we couldn't score. And it hasn't been a huge problem for our team all year. I give tremendous credit to Coach Pastner and his staff and the players for doing what they did tonight. On our end of the floor, we didn't start the game with the proper mindset, the right energy, the right toughness level that's required to win on the road. And we've talked about a lot that if you set the tone the wrong way and the other team has a lot of positive momentum to start the game, they're going to feed off that. And that's exactly what they did. We fought uphill the entire game and what I thought was a lack of energy and readiness on our part. So with that, I'll take questions.
Sorry. Your all struggles from three tonight. Was that a result of good defense, open misses, or was it just another issue with the offense?
We shot 24 of them, so I would say that a few of them were probably terrific defense, and I think we missed some open ones that I think we would normally hit. But regardless of whether the ball's going in or not, you can control your effort to get to the offensive glass. You can try to get to the free throw line, drive the ball in the paint. Do you need to make a few? Probably a couple, but it's not like Georgia Tech banged in 10 or 12 to beat us. They made 4. So it was an ugly game. It was a muddy game, and we weren't dirty enough to win.
Did you anticipate playing as much zone as you did in the second half?
No. We went into the game, though, talking about having it ready and playing it because they've struggled at times versus the zone. They don't have a ton of guys that statistically are great three-point shooters. Michael DeVoe is really the only guy over 40% that plays a lot. And so we felt like if we could tilt the floor and make sure that he didn't get one, which again, he got one, that maybe we could get some deflections, get some runouts that maybe would help our offense as well. So it wasn't just a defensive decision, but we didn't do enough in it, even though it did get some stops.
What was the explanation on the double foul call? Have you seen that before in your coaching career?
I have seen it before. I couldn't remember the game. I've seen that before. All right, just make the right call, whatever that is. Block, charge.
What was the explanation?
It's like saying it's a made shot and a missed shot at the same time.
What was the explanation of the goal?
I thought Jamie Luckey did a terrific job. I didn't see the replay, but those guys watched it over and over and over. So, he called a goaltend specifically so he could go to the monitor, and that's a hell of an official that can do that. They had the presence of mind to think, you know what, I can't review it at the timeout, but we can review it right now if I call it. So a lot of guys wouldn't do it. Did I think it was goaltending at the time? Yeah. But I wish Dave would have just gone up and dunked the ball and created a little more contact and not have to worry about putting it in the official's hands to make a call that we wanted.
I think Jordan was close to his season low in field goal attempts. Was there anything they were doing in particular to slow him down, or was it just an off night for him?
I mean, they put a 5'11", 6-foot tough kid on him, and we run post-up plays. Jordan can't figure out how to be tough enough to hold a guy off and lay the ball.
Was there any common theme with all your turnovers, or was it just a sloppy night in general?
I mean, that probably is the common theme, but I would tell you that a large majority of our turnovers were in offensive transition, which is astounding. We have 3-on-2s and 2-on-1s, and we're knocking it off our own knee, and then pushing guys over, we're getting the ball slapped out of bounds on our own knee. We're missing layups. Our ability to convert when we had those, those numbered breaks was really poor. I mean, even Dave's goaltending, block shot. We had a ton of those opportunities and we didn't convert. That's why we scored whatever it was, 58 points.
You guys ended up finishing with 40 points from the bench, nearly over double what the starters had. What was it that the reserves were able to do that the starters could not against Toronto?
I think that we have a deep team and we have a talented team. I didn't think our starters, were really ready to play. They didn't give us anything in the first half. Our reserves came in and almost evened up the game before halftime. And so, why do the starters get the luxury of starting the game off, or the second half off if they weren't the ones that earned getting back into it? And so, I probably should have played the reserves a little bit more. They did have 9 of our 16 turnovers, so that was an issue.
As far as your team not really being ready to play early, is that something that you can see beforehand? Is there any signs that kind of point to that being a potential issue?
If I saw it before, I would like to think that we would address it. I think that we have addressed it in other games where I felt like, the locker room was maybe a little too loose or just things were a little too casual in warm-ups. But coaches came in, thought our guys were, warming up, ready to go, had some energy. But the first 4 minutes, we looked like zombies. Like we looked like we had no readiness and toughness and excitement to play. And from that point on, we were battling uphill the whole game.
Take one more for Coach, anyone?
Coach, is there a particular area that if your team doesn't, meet or exceed you and or their expectations, that they won't be as good as they can be? Is there an elephant in the room in that regard?
I don't understand your question.
Like,
Sorry.
so if your team doesn't meet the expectation, the standard that you have set for them, is there a particular area of something that they need to do in order to make that happen that stands out more than anything else?
Well, by and large, I think we've been a team that has competed in practice. And generally, on game night, you are who you are in practice. And we had some guys tonight that didn't compete nearly as hard in the game as in practice. To sit up here after, however, 21 wins, and to say that, here's a huge issue with our readiness or whatever it is, I would be lying. Our guys, for the most part, while not perfect, have answered the challenge and answered the bell. But tonight we didn't. Turnovers have plagued us, especially in the first half, and we have to get that rectified. Our defense hasn't been great the last 3 or 4 games, and those 2 things have to improve for our team to go as far as we're capable of. Thank you.